get out here.
The local buses from Jerusalem turn round here. Presumably something is yet to be built in this gap, but at the moment it's traffic hell on earth. We have to cross over to continue our journey in taxis. These taxis have to have special licenses to use the settlers-only roads. In case you don't know, there are two road networks in the West Bank: new, fast, modern bypass A roads for the settlers and slow, rough, windy B roads for the Palestinians.
Private Palestinian cars are not allowed to go on these streets, which are settler or bypass roads. It's only the orange taxis that have a special permit to use this road.
Okay, what's this coming up?
The military watchtower to control the road.
So what happens if somebody's caught on the road with the wrong colour registration plate?
They will be fined and they can be even imprisoned. Well, here now you see a Palestinian village. So you see it's like mostly they have flat roofs and it's like very scattered, very unregular. While if you see an Israeli settlement, you can see like they are built mostly on hilltops and in a very planned way. This is a settlement that's still getting expanded. You can see that the houses are quite new. Most of them, people are not even living in it yet, but still they're expanding. They keep saying this is for the natural growth, but this is actually not true.
Yeah. So that's why there's fences here.
Yes, settlements, they have their own security fences, and a lot of the settlement roads start having fences also. So the function of the settlement roads, apart from being built on Palestinian lands which are taken without compensation from the Palestinians, it's also cutting the Palestinian infrastructure.
It's so easy to miss the point that the West Bank is an occupied country, rather like France during the Second World War. As you travel around, you will see constant military convoys and patrols. The most common are the army jeeps, complete with flashing lights. You will also see army lorries transporting goods. I also saw some sort of heavy-duty truck with a metal shed on the back, I imagined with gun holes on the side. We also saw tanks and infamous armoured bulldozers on display at one checkpoint. And perhaps the most sinister of all were the various armoured personnel carriers patrolling the roads. There were over 600 obstructions to movement for Palestinians in the West Bank in 2005. The most important of these were the checkpoints that control the major road intersections and the entrances to all the Palestinian cities. Palestinian vehicles are stopped and inspected. Pedestrians must queue up to pass through metal detectors and to have their identity passes checked. These checkpoints can be opened and closed at the whim of the soldiers, and we heard of people waiting for hours or even all day. People can't get to their work, students can't get to their colleges. Even sick people, ambulances and pregnant women may not be allowed through. UN statistics show that on average 20 women a year have to give birth at the checkpoints, with a 50% mortality rate as a result. Smaller Palestinian towns have all their roads blocked up with mounds of rubble, except for the one entrance, which can then be guarded by military patrol, as we saw on our first night in our town. As punishment, towns can be sealed off completely by either a final mound of rubble or by digging a trench across the road entrance. Control of movement is further enforced by flying checkpoints, as we experienced on a bus returning from Takharum one night. And in places sets of metal gates which can be locked across the roads. All these measures often seem to follow a random pattern and seem to be a deliberate policy to restrict Palestinian movements between the enclaves and to further weaken the economy.
where we'll be staying this week. I wanted to get a shot of the road sign, and I looked, couldn't find one. And I asked our host, sort of, well, where's the sign to your town, your village? And they said, well, the soldiers came one night and cut it down. Anyway, here we are, that's Sawiyas, and here are some concrete blocks which I suppose come in handy for the Israeli army if they want to do a checkpoint. Then since 1967 and the invasion, land has been stolen from the Palestinians to build a new settlement called Eli, which is scattered along the tops of the hills on the far side of the valley.
The map shows the settler road in blue following the valley, and the Palestinian town in darker orange on the left, and the settlement in darker brown on the right. The white area, which includes the settler road and surrounds the town, is the Oslo Agreement Area C, which is full Israeli control for civil and military purposes. About 80% of the land in Palestine is olive trees, so olives are a central part of Palestinian culture. And harvest time is supposed to be a time of great happiness. Whole families go off to work in the fields, taking their picnics to stay all day. Men and women, young and old, teenagers and young children, friends and family groups. As we set off on our first day's picking to a safe area to learn the methods, it seemed as if the whole town was on the move.
وزارعنا الفلفل بالحر الحمد لله وقالوا عدانا ما بحمر الحمد لله الحمد لله فرعنا وحمر الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله كنزال الهم الحمد لله وزارعنا قرنفل بالحم الحمد لله وقالوا عدانا ما بخضر الحمد لله الحمد لله فرعنا وخضر الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله
Work in the fields is punctuated by meal breaks, with simple but exciting picnics of lovely local food. As the sun begins to dip, the sacks of olives are tied up and loaded onto the donkeys, and everyone makes their way back to the town. You become aware of the cycles of agricultural life and the patterns of time, which have gone on for generation after generation. People had smiles for us.
Okay, stay there.
Children greeted us as friends and clanged around with happiness.